In the deepest parts of the ocean, there is a place where light does not exist. No sunrise. No sunset. Just endless, crushing darkness. A world so extreme, it was once believed to be completely lifeless. But that belief was wrong. Because hidden beneath nearly 11,000 meters of water, lies one of the most mysterious environments on Earth. The Mariana Trench. A place often described as the final frontier of our own planet. But here's the unsettling truth. Nothing about it is as safe as you think. At first glance, the Mariana Trench sounds like a distant, quiet abyss. A deep scar in the Pacific Ocean floor, stretching over 2,500 kilometers. Its deepest point, the Challenger Deep, dives nearly 11 kilometers down. That's deeper than Mount Everest is tall. Imagine taking the tallest mountain on Earth, flipping it upside down, and still not reaching the bottom. That's the scale we're dealing with. But depth is only part of the story. Because as you descend into the trench, the environment begins to change in ways that feel almost alien. Sunlight fades quickly. By 200 meters, it's already dim. By 1,000 meters, it's gone. And below that, you enter what scientists call the midnight zone. A place where darkness is permanent. But darkness is not the most dangerous thing here. The real threat is pressure. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the pressure is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level. That's like having 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of you, pressing down from every direction. Steel would crumple. Submarines can collapse. Even the strongest materials on the surface become fragile down here. So for a long time, scientists assumed nothing could survive. And yet, life found a way. But this is where things get strange. The creatures that live here don't just survive the pressure. They depend on it. Take the Mariana snailfish. A small, ghostly creature, soft-bodied and nearly transparent. At first glance, it looks harmless. Almost delicate. But bring it to the surface, and it quite literally falls apart. Its body is specially adapted to withstand extreme pressure. Without it, its structure collapses. It's a creature that can only exist in a world that would instantly kill most others. And it's not alone. Deeper still, you'll find amphipods. Tiny crustaceans that look like shrimp. But in the trench, they grow to unusual sizes. Some are nearly the length of a human hand. This phenomenon is known as deep-sea gigantism. And it's one of the ocean's strangest patterns. In extreme environments, some species become larger than their shallow-water relatives. Why? Scientists believe it's linked to metabolism and survival. In the deep ocean, food is scarce. Growing larger may help these creatures store energy, and travel longer distances in search of it. But that raises a disturbing question. If food is so rare, what are they eating? To understand that, we need to look at how life works down here. Because in the Mariana Trench, there is no sunlight. Which means no photosynthesis. And without photosynthesis, the entire foundation of most ecosystems disappears. So instead, life relies on something called marine snow. Tiny particles of organic material, drifting down from the surface. Dead plankton. Waste. Fragments of decaying organisms. It's like a constant snowfall of nutrients, falling through the darkness. But here's the problem. By the time it reaches the trench, there's very little left. Which means every scrap of food is fought over. And sometimes, nature takes a darker turn. Because in this environment, opportunism is everything.
Creatures don't wait for meals. They take them. Dead whales, for example, occasionally sink to the ocean floor. When they do, they become what scientists call a whale fall. A massive, sudden feast. In the trench, this is like a buffet appearing out of nowhere. And the response is immediate. Swarming amphipods. Strange worms. Unidentified scavengers. All converging, in a feeding frenzy that can strip a carcass to bone in days. But that's not even the weirdest part. Because sometimes, the food isn't dead. There is growing evidence that some trench creatures are active predators. Ambush hunters, lurking in the darkness. Waiting. One example is the deep-sea cusk eel. A long, eel-like fish, adapted to life near the trench floor. Unlike the snailfish, it has a more muscular body. Built for movement. Built for hunting. But how do you hunt, in total darkness? The answer is both simple and terrifying. Many deep-sea creatures rely on bioluminescence. The ability to produce light. But not like a flashlight. More like a flicker. A pulse. A signal in the dark. Some use it to attract prey. Others use it to confuse predators. And some use it as bait. Imagine drifting in complete darkness, and suddenly seeing a small, glowing light. It looks like food. You move closer. And in an instant, you become the meal. This would be like following the glow of a street lamp, only to realize too late, it's attached to something waiting to eat you. But light is only one tool. Because in the Mariana Trench, sound travels differently. Movement creates vibrations. Tiny shifts in water pressure. And many creatures are highly sensitive to these changes. They don't need to see you. They can feel you. Every movement. Every heartbeat. Every mistake. And that's what makes this environment so dangerous. You are never truly hidden. But the danger doesn't stop with predators. Because the trench itself is unstable. It sits along a subduction zone, where one tectonic plate slides beneath another. This process is violent. It creates earthquakes, underwater landslides, sudden shifts in the seafloor. Entire sections of the trench can collapse, without warning. And when they do, they send massive plumes of sediment into the water, clouding everything, burying anything in their path. It's like an avalanche, in total darkness. And yet, life persists. Not just surviving, but adapting in ways that challenge everything we thought we knew. Some organisms have enzymes that function under extreme pressure. Others have cell membranes that remain stable, even when compressed beyond normal limits. It's biology, rewritten for an entirely different world. But the real reason this matters is far more surprising. Because what we're finding in the Mariana Trench is beginning to change how we think about life itself. Scientists have discovered microbes thriving in conditions once thought impossible. Organisms that don't rely on sunlight. That can survive extreme pressure and chemical environments that would be toxic to most life forms. And this has led to a profound realization. If life can exist here, in one of the most hostile places on Earth, then where else could it exist? But before we look beyond our planet, there's something we need to confront. Because the Mariana Trench is not as untouched as we once believed. And what scientists have found down there is deeply unsettling.
Because even here, in the deepest, darkest place on Earth, we have left a mark. And not a small one. A permanent one. In recent deep-sea expeditions, scientists sent robotic landers down into the Mariana Trench. Machines designed to withstand crushing pressure. Cameras rolling. Sensors scanning. Collecting samples from a world few humans will ever see. What they expected to find was a pristine environment. Untouched. Isolated. Protected by its own extreme conditions. But this is where things get strange. Because when the footage came back, it told a very different story. Plastic. Not just a piece here and there. But fragments. Fibers. Microplastics. Embedded in the sediment. Floating in the water. Even inside the bodies of trench-dwelling creatures. Let that sink in. A place deeper than Mount Everest is tall, has been reached, by human pollution. And that's not even the worst part. Because plastic isn't just waste. It's a carrier. A vehicle for toxic chemicals. Substances that bind to its surface, and travel across the ocean. When deep-sea creatures consume microplastics, they're not just eating debris. They're ingesting a cocktail of pollutants. PCBs, heavy metals. Persistent organic toxins. Chemicals that interfere with biology at the cellular level. And in the Mariana Trench, these substances have nowhere to go. They sink. They accumulate. They concentrate. To understand why this is so dangerous, we need to look at how food chains work down here. Remember marine snow? That slow drift of organic matter from the surface? Now imagine it mixed with microscopic plastic particles. Every tiny fragment becoming part of the ecosystem. Small organisms eat it. Then larger ones eat them. And step by step, those toxins move upward. This process is called bioaccumulation. And in extreme environments like the trench, it can become amplified. Which means the deeper you go, the more concentrated the contamination can become. But the real reason this is alarming is what scientists found inside amphipods. Those shrimp-like scavengers we talked about earlier. Creatures that live at the very bottom, feeding on whatever falls from above. In multiple studies, amphipods collected from the Mariana Trench contained some of the highest levels of industrial pollutants ever recorded in marine life. Higher than many animals living near heavily polluted coastlines. Let that sink in. The most remote ecosystem on Earth is also one of the most contaminated. And this raises a chilling question. If pollution can reach here, where can it go? But the danger doesn't stop with plastic. Because the trench is also being explored for something else. Resources. Valuable ones. Deep beneath the ocean floor lie deposits of rare minerals. Metals used in electronics. Batteries. Modern technology. And as demand for these materials grows, so does interest in deep-sea mining. On paper, it sounds like an opportunity. An untouched source of valuable resources. But in reality, it could become one of the most destructive activities in human history. To extract these minerals, massive machines would be sent to the seafloor. Scraping. Drilling. Grinding through sediment that has remained undisturbed for millions of years. And in the Mariana Trench, that sediment isn't just dirt. It's habitat. It's home. It's the foundation of an entire ecosystem. Imagine a bulldozer driving through a city at night. No warning. No lights. No escape. That's what deep-sea mining could look like for trench organisms. But this is where things get even more concerning. Because unlike surface ecosystems, recovery here is incredibly slow. In shallow waters, disturbances can heal over years or decades. But in the deep ocean, time moves differently. Growth is slow. Reproduction is limited. Energy is scarce. If an ecosystem is destroyed here, it may take centuries, or even longer, to recover. Some damage could be permanent. And yet, we are only just beginning to understand this environment. Every expedition reveals new species. New behaviors. New biological systems that challenge our assumptions about life. It's like opening a book, where every page rewrites the rules of biology. But we're reading it, while tearing out the pages. Because the Mariana Trench is not just a deep hole in the ocean. It's a living laboratory. A place that holds clues to some of the biggest questions in science. How life adapts to extreme pressure. How ecosystems function without sunlight. How organisms survive on minimal energy. And perhaps most importantly, where else life might exist, beyond Earth. To understand why this matters, we need to zoom out. Far beyond our planet. Because environments similar to the Mariana Trench may exist on other worlds. Take Jupiter's moon, Europa. Or Saturn's moon, Enceladus. Both are believed to have vast oceans, hidden beneath thick layers of ice. Dark. Cold. High-pressure environments. Sound familiar? If life can thrive in the crushing depths of our own ocean, then it's possible, just possible, that it could exist in those distant oceans as well. Creatures we've never seen. Ecosystems unlike anything on Earth.